Hi everyone and welcome back to the Daredevil Python Machine Learning Library series. And in this video, we're discussing about the Matplotlib library in Python. So पिछले वीडियो में हम लोग pandas और numpy के बारे में जाना था और pandas और numpy library को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हम लोग एक्सप्लोर किया था. So now in this tutorial, we are going to exploring this Matplotlib library in Python. So शायद इस वीडियो काफी लंबा भी हो सकते हैं, तो अच्छा होगा आप पेन और पेपर लेके बैठो और you can save this video on your playlist. And this video is a combination of the Hindi and English, but most of the time I'm trying to use the English word. So बिना किसी देर के हर हर महादेव बोल के start करते हो tutorial. So before jumping on the tutorial, you need to also installing this library that's called the Matplotlib. So you can give here a command that's called a pip install Matplotlib like me. So let's say pip install Matplotlib, install Matplotlib like that. So you can see the spelling is Matplotlib, not math, right? So when I press this shift enter keyboard, or you can clicking this run button, and it will installing this library on your system. So this library is already installed in my system, so I think I don't need to install it here, right? But in some cases, when you're using the Google Colab, you need to give here exclamatory sign also, right? Like that, exclamatory sign, right? Just remember this one. If it is not working, you need to give here the exclamatory sign. Okay, fine. Now let's take another shell now. So now what I'm going to do, I am simply going to import my matplotlib. So for that, I have to use here import matplotlib dot iplot as tlt like that. Shift enter, and you can see it automatically imported this library on my notebook, right? So let's take some shell. Okay, fine. So now using matplotlib, you can generate some plot, like it can be a scatter plot, it can be the plot, it can be the bar plot, it can be the pie chart, all of the plot. You can also do the histogram of the images and also the data. See one thing, when you are going to exploring this matplotlib, you need to memorize one thing here. First, in matplotlib or in any graph, you have the two axes. One is the x, another one is y. Again, यहाँ पर दो axes होना चाहिए, x or y, right? X and y. And x should be a list or tuple, and y should be a list or tuple. Or x should be an array, or y should be an array. You know, to give this kind of value, it's like an array format. Then what I can do first, you're going to exploring the method that's called a scatter. So to do that, I can use here the plt.scatter. So if I am trying to hover over here and hover over the scatter and use the shift tab from a keyboard, and if I explore it, you can see you need to give here the x and also the y, and it having some parameter argument. And you can, if you go down, you can see the scatter plot of y versus x with varying marker size or color. That's when you can give here some color. Now what is nothing but the x and y. X means the x-axis value and also y-axis value. So we can also generate this value using the numpy, because we already know about the numpy, that how can you creating some random value using numpy also. So to do that, we can using here the numpy. So let's say import numpy as np, and we need to import. I need to give here the two value inside the scatter plot. First one is the x and another one is the y. So now the question is, how can you generate some random value? You can use the np.random, but we are going to using the np.arrange, so it's one better for me. So let's say np.arrange, and we can, let's say I'm going to getting some value from 1 to, let's say, 30. Okay, and also for y, let's say arrange, we are going to getting some value from, let's say, 30, 31 to 60, like. And one more thing, when you give here the value, x and the y size should be the same. The size of the x and size of the y should be the same. Otherwise, it will give you some error. It may be the axis error. So let's say try to run it from here. Now I'm going to pass here my x and y. And if I'm trying to run this right now, okay, one more thing. When you're trying to running this, you need to also give here the plt.show. This command you need to also type here. See, when you give here the plt.show, and you can see one scatter plot is created. One scatter plot is created. Now you are using a Jupyter notebook. You can also remove this line from here. Remove the line from here, and you have to do one thing here. You need to give here one thing that's called a matplotlib inline. Matplotlib inline, so that you don't need to type this plt.em show again and again. So let's say matplotlib inline. So if I run this shell now you can see here, you can get the output that you get before, right? You don't need to give here. Now you are trying to change this color below. So how can you change it? You can give here the property that's called color, and inside that you need to give the color. So let's say I'm going to give here the red color, run it. So you can see red color. If I'm trying to give here the green color, you can see green. If I try to make it B, and you can see the blue color is printed. See how cool is it? You are actually creating a scatter plot. Now let's say I'm trying to give here my x level, I mean x-axis level, and the y-axis level. So how can I do that? I can give here like that plt dot x level, like that x level, and I can give here my name. So nothing but this is my x-axis, so x-axis like that. And if I'm trying to copy this it out, and we having the y-axis, we have it the y-axis, so it's with the y, and let's make it y-axis. And if I run it again, now you can see at the x-axis, this is nothing but x-axis, and this is nothing but y-axis. And you can see here the y-axis value started from 30 to 60 that you see here, and also the x-axis value started from 0 to 13, right? You can also keep here on level so that it's look both. So let's say I'm going to copy this out, and I am trying to make this y level should the title, okay, it should be in a small letter title. And let's try to make this out. Let's say this is a scatter plot, so this is how you can creating a scatter plot using the Matplotlib. So we also exploring another library, Python library, the visualization library. It's called a Seaborn. So C1 पे इससे अच्छा होगा, I mean plotting इच्छा अच्छा से होगा, काफी realistic लगा इसको. You can also click here to save this file, just save image as, and it will saving this file on your system also, right? You can also give here the command that's called the plt.savefig also. Let's say plt.savefig. I mean, save the figure, and you can give here a name with the from the image. Let's say test.png, like that, png. Okay, it will automatically saving this plot inside your directory. So let's check this out. So यहाँ पर जाते control tab. Okay, you can see here one file is created here, test.png. That's mean it is created, right? That's not created. You can seconds ago. Okay, fine. You can also save this figure like this way. Now, so this is how you can actually creating this 2D plot using the Matplotlib. Now let's checking the another one. It's called a plt.plot. plt.plot. So let's say I'm trying to making by y-axis and the x-axis in the form of the floating point number in the float, not a scatter plot in the float. It's another kind of float, right? Okay. So now to do that, you need to use here the plt.plot, and you can do some styling on that. So let's say I'm going to using here the x and y, and I'm going to give it my color. Let's say I'm going to give it my color the r, and I am trying to copy all the things here. Just copy this all the things from here, and I'm going to paste it here, and see, you can see here one plot is created. See, it's the scatter plot having the dot value, and this is nothing but one line. That's called also the best fit line. If you are learning this linear regressions, you can creating this kind of line, right? So let's say I'm trying to changing my y into let's say x into 3, like that, x into 3. So let's see we having the getting the value or not. Yeah, we can got the value, but it's better let's make it axis here. Okay, so see, it's look like the curve, like it's look like the curve. So this is how you can also creating the plot. So it should be the plot, just plot, let's say 2D plot. Okay, see how it's look like. Now you can play with this color value and with having some property on that. So let's say shift tab, and if I explore this, and you can see they're having some value, let's say parameter x and the y, and it having the let's see which one have it having the line width and also the marker size. You can see this is nothing but my color as a character description. You can actually give it the markers and also give it the color. You can see B means the blue marker, OR means red circle, G means grid solid line. Also having the color value, you can also give it here. So now what I can do, I am simply give here another property that's called a line style. Let's say line style. Let's give the line style should be dashed. Let's say dashed like that, dashed. And also you can give it the line width. So line width, WDAT width. Let's say give here 1. And also you can give it the marker size. Let's say give it 10. Okay, now let's see. You can see here this is nothing but a plot, and it's not right now a dash in a dashed format. You can give here let's say 2. So let's see. Wow, that's green. Let's try to make it green, and let's run it now. You can see it's converted into green. You can also give it the star also. Let's say green star. Let's say green star, and you can see a star, right? How cool is it? Blue, and let's turn it down. You can see blue with having the stars. So this is how you can actually creating the plot using this matplotlib. Now let's say you can see there is a just simple one plot. Now I am trying to plot four plot in the same picture, four plot in the same picture. So this is called a subplot. I mean, just one picture you are going to plotting the four graph. So that's when we have in the two row and the two column. So what I can do, we can simply using the subplot, we can using the subplot. So let's say I'm going to use the plt dot subplot. Now I need to export this thing with how many row and the how many column. So let's say we have the two row and the two column, and the one number axis we are going to plotting the first one. So let's say I'm going to copy this out. I'm just going to copy this out, copy this out, and the first plot we're going to plotting this one. In the second plot we have the four axes. The second plot, make it second, and you're going to make it red. In the second plot we are trying to copy this, and we're going to paste it here, and we're trying to make it red. And in the third plot we are going to plotting on a scatter plot. See one thing, just wait, plot, and just print paste it here. And in the third plot, I mean the fourth plot, we are going to using the another one, 4. Let's say this is nothing but all green. Shift enter, and you can see we have in a 4 plot. We have in a 4 plot in the same pictures. You can see this is nothing but one plot with having the blue color and with having a star. And you can see another one is nothing but the red with having the star. And this is the nothing but a scatter plot with having the blue and the green. So this is how you can also plotting the subplot also in the matplotlib. So this is how you can actually do that in simply way. You can also do some calculations like y equal to mx plus c. I mean the equation of the what is called equation of the linear regression. You can also do this out. You can also do this out. So let's say I am trying to getting some value. Let's say I'm trying to getting some values. Let's say y equal to mx plus c. This is the equation of the straight line in the linear regressions. So let's say I'm trying to giving my m value as a 3 and the c value as a 5. Let's say I'm trying to give like that. And also I have an x of list. Let's say x of list. So let's say I'm trying to using the again np dot arrange, and I'm going to getting the value from 1 to let's say 11. And we have a uh, rules that's called y equal to mx plus c. So now I'm trying to plotting this graph. So for that I can using here the scatter plot, or I can also using this plt.plot. So what I can do, I can simply copy this out. I'm just going to copy this out and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm trying to make it, let's say, blue right now. And with having the dashed, okay, I can also remove this out. Don't worry. So if I'm trying to print it, okay, mx is not defined. Okay, I have to give it the m value and the x value. Let's say give here m value as a 5. And let's say x value, c value as a 3, the coefficient, right? So now you can see here it also creating a plot, right? Creating a plot, and this is nothing but a coefficient. If I'm trying to make it 5, and you can see this is nothing but a coefficient. So this is how it's nothing but you can also creating the plot using this matplotlib library to exploring the linear regressions. So how you go further, we also discussing about that the EDA, the feature engineering part. So don't worry on that. I also coming with the three projects also for the EDA and also the feature engineering, which one is very important in order to solving some real world problem in the data science. So now what I can do, I am simply going to plotting the also what I can the sine wave and also the cos wave. You can also do that. So let's try to do that. So we having the properties called np.pi. So we having the pi value 3.1416. Now let's say I'm trying to plotting the sine wave and the cos wave. If you know about it, okay, in class 9 or 10 or in the inter, maybe you know about it, that sine, the wave of the sine or the cos wave, you can also plot it out. So to do that, I can using here again x equal to np dot arrange, and okay, just arrange. मैं अच्छा से जा रहा हूँ np.arrange. Then what I can do, we can simply give here the value, and we know in the sign when you're creating the sign, it having the value of the pi, and pi mean 22 by 7s, which one is the infinite number. So now what I can do, I am simply going to getting the value from 4 to pi, 4 to np.pi, and it having the difference of let's say 0.5. just having the difference of the 0.5, or let's say 0.2, like that. Then what I can do, I am simply going to the property in Python that's called np.sign, np.sign with passing the value x, right? Passing the value of x. So this is nothing but getting the sign value to calculating the signs in the trigonometry, right? So let's say I'm trying to enter. So np is not defined. MP, it's not MP, not np. Okay, it's plotted. Now what I can do, I'm simply going to plotting this out. So in order to plotting them, I'm simply going to use this one, right? And going to use this one, and I'm going to make this title should be the sine wave plot. So let's say sine wave plot. So this is how you can actually plotting them. Plot. Okay, this is nothing but a sine wave. So you can also do these things for the cosine also. So to do that, what I can do, we can simply plotting this number. So let's say I'm trying to make this, copy this out. Okay, copy this out, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm simply copy this out now here, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to make it cos. So let's say cos. So you can see here the cosine wave. This is the sine wave and this is the cosine wave. So make it, let's say, cosine wave. Okay, so this is how you can actually do this out, the sine wave and the cosine wave, like this way, the sine wave and the cosine wave. So इसको भी run करते हैं इसके ऊपर यहाँ पर. Okay, cosine wave, you can see sine wave and the cosine wave. You can also plot it in the line by line using subplot. So this is your homework. सब कुछ मैं करूँगा तो तुम क्या करोगे भाई? Okay, so now what you can do, we can simply plotting the bar plot, and we are discussing about the scatter plot, the dash plot, also the linear regression, just basics one, and also the sine wave and the sine wave plot, and also the cosine wave plot. Now we're discussing about the bar plot. So in order to get in the bar plot, it having the property, it's called plt.bar, plt.bar, plt.bar. So if I explore it, shift tab, and if I explore it, you can see x and the height, the bottom, align, and the data, making a bar plot. The bar's x position x with the given alignment, right? Okay, fine. That's when you need to also give it the x value and with having the y value. So now I'm going to taking some values. Let's say inside a list. Let's say comma 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, comma 6, comma 7. Just getting some random value, right? And also let to give here the value for the y. Let's say y equal to, let's say 8, comma 9, comma 10, comma 11, comma 12, comma 13, comma 14, like that. So it having the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 7th value we getting here, right? Now I'm going to passing my x and the y, and if I'm trying to run the shell, and you can see one bar plot is created. If I try to make it, let's say I'm trying to make it 2, and you can see here also having the bar plot is created. That means it's counting them. In the 2, it is counting the extra 2, right? It's counting the extra 2. So the x-axis and the y-axis below it is creating one bar plot. Now let's say I having another list. Let's say I'm going to make another list. Let's say x1 and also the x2. Let's say I'm trying to compute the male and the female. When you're actually exploring the data, you need to also compare the data. This data is the balanced data or the imbalanced data. When you do the imbalance, the EDA part, you need to also exploring these things using a bar plot, that it is really the imbalance or the balanced data. Let's say I have the x1 and also the x2, right? Now I'm exploring this same thing in the same bar plot, so that I can check that which one is a minimum, which one is the maximum, or having the value or not. So let's say I'm trying to copy the same value here again. Let's say I'm copying this value same here again, and I'm trying to make it, let's say 31, let's say this 11, and this is 51, let's say this 14, and I'm going to same copy this y value, and I'm trying to pass it here, and let's make it the 19, the 21, let's say make it let's say this is make it says 24, like that. So now what I can do, I am simply going to plotting the same thing in another one. Copy this out, paste it, make it x1 and also y1, and let's give here on color. Okay, let's give here the color. Let's say I'm going to give here color as a green. So let's say green color. Shift enter. Okay, x1 is not defined, and it also runs the shell. Okay, y1 is to define, I need to make it y1. Oh bhai, itna kya gadbad ho raha hai yahan par. Okay, now you can see here the value of the x, I mean the x1, x, and the x1 and y, and the y1 value. See, this is nothing but x and the x1, right? Again, see how the value is represented. Let's say I'm trying to make it also quite same. Let's say make it 1, let's say make it 2, and let's try to make it uh, 11 like that, and let's say make it 13, and also let's make it 6 or 5. So now you can see how in actually plotting them things, you can see you can get some different that how you actually do that. You can actually clarify that which one having the maximum value and which one having the lower value. See, if I actually zoom it out, just one thing, just zoom it out. See one thing here. See in this plot, you can see one plot is created. You can see here this is nothing but for the green, and this is nothing but the blue. That's mean how you are exploring them, that the x2 value is a low, x2 value is a low, and rather than x1 value is a high, x1 value is a high. See, this is nothing but the x, and this is nothing but the x1. So see, that's mean you have the low value in this point, you have the low value in the x1 portion, and having a greater value in the x portion, in the x portion. This is how you can actually explore in this thing. This is how you can explore in this thing, right? In the EDA. Now what I can do, we can simply taking, let's say give you some low amount of number so that you can get it correctly. थोड़ा कम नंबर लेता है, नहीं तो कन्फ्यूजन हो जाएगा यहाँ पर. हो गया 3 लेता है. हो गया अच्छा से. अब देखो, okay, let's take another number one. Let's say 2, 8, let's say 10. थोड़ा गैप देता है इस पे. Let's say 11, let's say make it 16, let's say make it 9, and x1 पे लेते हैं let's say 3, 9, 11, just one से 10 तक, right? इसके बाद लेते हैं let's say 6, let's say 15, let's say 7. Now it's floating correctly, right? See, now it's working fine. See, this is nothing but the first one, the x1, 2, and another one, the x1 is nothing but 3. Now you can compare both of them. You can compare both of them, that which one is a greater and which one is not. Which one is greater and which one is not. Based on that, you can take some decision. You can take some decision in the EDA part. So don't worry on that. If you don't understand it, just know that how can you plot and blur plot. So when you do some projects in the EDA or the feature engineering part, then you can actually understand this thing, what actually happening inside this blur plot. Now I'm trying to exploring this again and creating some histogram plot. Creating the some histogram plot. Let's say I having one array. I having an array. Let's say numpy np dot array. So with having some value inside a numpy array and some duplicate value also, or maybe it could be the number of the student, that how many students are getting the highest value and how many are not. So let's say I'm going to give you 90, let's say 91, 90, let's say 87. That's the number of the student. Let's say I take an example. So 77, let's say 76, 56, let's say 90 again, let's say 97, 92, 94. Let's say one is a fail, let's say 33, 32, let's say 50, just like some random number, right? Okay, so we just get giving some value of the student, giving the number of the student. Now using this, you need to actually creating here one histogram. In Bangla it's called the ayatul econ, that we actually learn in our 9 or class 10. If you're from India, maybe it's having this, it's also called a statistics part. So let's say I'm trying to plotting this thing in histogram, in the form of the histogram. To do that, you need to using here the plt.hist, oh by plt.hist, then I have to pass here my a. Now you can see here, based on the value, it is creating a plot. See, in the 90, it will having the 4 student. And in the 30 to 40, it having just 1 student. That's mean this one maybe 32. Okay. In 30 to 40, it having just 1 student. And in 50 to 60, it having also 1 student. It's on 56, right? 56. And again into the 45 to 50, it having the 3 student. Let's check this out. It having the 45, and also maybe another one have also, yep, 50, right? So it having the 3 value. So this is how actually histogram actually work. So you can also give it the title. So let's say plt dot title, and I'm going to give here let's say histogram or histogram, like that. Okay, you can see the histogram is created. Also, you can give here the x level and also the y levels. That's up to you. Now we're going to exploring the another important one. That's called the box plot. That's called the box plot. And which one very important? Which one very important? How you do the data analysis and how you removing the outlier in the data. Removing the outlier in the data. Outlier means it's not necessary when you're building the machine learning model. So using box plot, you can detect the outlier of the data. Detecting the outlier of the data. So how can you actually do that? How can you do that? You can simply do that using the Python. Using Python. So let's try to do that. So let's say I'm going to getting some random value. Let's say data. I'm just going to exploring this value. I'm just going to generate the value using the numpy, because we have the numpy, right? Let's say I'm going to generate some random value. Let's say np.random and random, and let's try to generate some normal distribution value. There is some distribution like a normal distribution, Gaussian distribution. I'm trying to making it normal distribution, just having some normal distribution. If you know the statistics, you know about the normal distribution. What is the Gaussian distribution, you know about it. Let's say I'm trying to getting some value that using a normal distribution, and let's say I'm going to give here 0 and with having the standard deviations, and also let's say giving this difference, let's say 100. Let's say 100. Now what I can do, I'm simply going to lambda function to generate some value. It's std in range. Let's say getting some value with having the 1 to 5. Simple, we're getting some values. So if we try to print it out, let's say data, and you can see this is nothing but one list. This is nothing but one array, or you can see list with having some value in the normal distribution. With having the normal distribution. Now if I'm trying to plot it, let's say plt dot box plot, and if I'm trying to pass my data, and you can see here, just having 3, you can see here our plot is created, and you can see here there is some outlier. There's having some outlier is detected. So if I try to make it, let's say 3, let's 3, and let's see now. You can see it having some outlier, Let's try to make it 4. Okay, now you can see here it having some outlier on the data. This is nothing but the outlier. Now when you get this outlier using Python, you maybe remove this or getting some another method also to remove the outlier. You can do that out. You can do it out. So it's having also some values, I mean some property also. If I explore it out, and you can see our notch, it having the bird, it having the perch artist, you can also do that. So let's try this out also. Let's say I'm going to use me a bird, I mean bird access. So let's say make it true. So if I try to make it true, and also it having the patch arts, so let's say patch p-a-t-g-s patch artist, let's say make it true. Now see one thing. So how I try to make this out, you can see here the vertical is right now in the horizontal. You will try to make it the false, and you can see the box plot is looks like that, and this is nothing but my outlier. This is actually detecting the outlier. How in exploring the EDA bird, you can actually do that. Let's make it false. Then you can see just it having the white one, just default one. And now you when you get this outlier, you can simply remove this outlier using some technique. It having some another technique in the EDA. You can actually do that to in order to remove this outlier from your data. Now you're exploring the last one. It's called the pie chart, of the data. एंड दिस द फाइनल ऑल वीडियो शायद काफ़ी लंबा हो चुका है, बोरिंग भी हुए आप शायद, कोई बात नहीं, वीडियो पॉज करो और खाना पीना खा के आओ, इसके बाद बैठ जाओ और लास्ट वाला. So let's say I'm trying to creating here one pie plot with having some programming languages. Let's say I have my language. Let's say language. Let's say I having one language that's called, let's say first with Python, obviously Python, my favorite one. Then we have, let's say Java. Okay, Java. Then we have our, let's say C, and we have our, let's say Dirt. Okay, Dirt, the flutter one. And let's say we have our javascript. Okay, fine. Now let's define some values with corresponding the language. Let's say make it sizes, the sizes of this file. Let's say I make it says, let's say 120 MB, and let's make it a Java file, let's say 50 MB, and let's say C, let's make it C++. I don't like C++ because it's the object oriented one, so that's why I like it. So let's make it, let's say 345, let's say 250, and JavaScript, let's make it 210. Okay, the size of the file. Okay, now I'm going to also giving here some color also. So let's give here the list of the color. See one thing, why color actually, why actually plotting this five plot, you can actually using some colors. So let's give here some random color. So let's say give here Python is golden, so it should be golden, and Java देते हैं किसको, let's say sky blue. Okay, let's say light sky blue, or let's give here green or red like that. So let's say green, and इसका बाद है let's say red देते हैं इसको, कितना हुआ 4 5, और को क्या देते हैं, let's say yellow green देते हैं, हो गया right. Now let's give here some explode. So we'll discuss about that, don't worry on that. Let's say we have in the 5, so let's say go here, the first one is a priority one, let's say give one 3, and all of them below are 0. Okay, fine. Okay, we created. Now what I can do, we can simply create the pie chart. So now this is the most important one. So let's say plt.py. Then we simply give here my languages or size. Let's give here my sizes. Okay, now based on the sizes, you can see it creating a pie chart. So you can see the size 120, the 560, 345, and the 250, and the 210. Now what I can do, you can simply divide them. We're going to simply divide them with having the language, with the Java, with the C++, or Dirt, right? So to do that, what I can do, we can simply give here the labels, and language is nothing but my labels. So what I can do, you can give here my labels, right? Labels as my language आ गया, पाइथन आ गया, जावा आ गया, इसका बाद क्या है, पाइथन काम है ना, पाइथन इसका बाद आ गया, नहीं पाइथन को अच्छा देना होगा, 5 देते हैं, अब बढ़िया लग रहे हैं पाइथन, इसके बाद है जावा, इसके बाद है जावास्क्रिप्ट, डॉट, सी प्लस प्लस, हो गया, हमारा लेवल्स भी हो गया, हमारा साइज भी दे दिया यहाँ पर. Now what I can do, we can give it the colors. So to do the colors, let's say colors, now we're going to give here our own color. So let's say I'm going to give here the colors. Okay, colors भी दे दिया, हाँ colors भी आ गया, हमारा वाला color आ गया. Now what I can do, we can give here the shadow. So let's say give here some shadow. Let's say give it the shadow like that. Shadow आ गया क्या, हाँ shadow भी आ गया, देखो shadow भी आ गया यहाँ पर. Okay, fine. Now what I can do, we can also give here our explode. So to do that, we can give here explode भी हम देते हैं यहाँ पर, explode को देते हैं explode की तरह से, भाई कॉपी कर दो, इसके बाद explode करता है हमको, पाइथन का एक्सप्लोड करना है हमको, हो जाए एक्सप्लोड, आप देखो एक्सप्लोड हो गया. Try to make it shadow should be false. Okay, देखो एक्सप्लोड हो गया, एक्सप्लोड बहुत अच्छी तरीके से किया. So if I try to make it 0.1, and you can see, just to wait, also run this out. Oh देखो एक्सप्लोड हो गया, right? थोड़ा सा गैप है यहाँ पर. You can also print the percentage, how many percentage is. So to do that, you can also get here a property that's called the auto PCT. It's called the auto PCT, and you have to give here this in a format of the floating point number point. So let's say I'm going to floating this, let's say 1, 1.1, and F and the ampersand sign like that. Okay, now let's see the floating is coming or not. Now you can see that 27% is Python, 29% is Java, the C++, the Dart, and the JavaScript. So this is how actually exploring your data, that how many percent inside your data. Okay, so this is about the pie plot, right? शायद वीडियो आपको अच्छा लगा. So discussing about the Matplotlib, the scatter plot, the bar plot, the histogram, creating the sine wave, the cosine wave, and also the histogram, the box plot, to how to actually remove the outlier. Then we're discussing about the pie plot one, right? So that's it for today now. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and make sure to subscribe to channels and don't forget to hit the bell icon. So इसका बाद हम लोग C1 के बारे में जानेंगे, और इसके बाद हम जाएंगे प्रोजेक्ट में, राइट, क्योंकि हम 3 प्रोजेक्ट भी करने वाला है वहाँ पर, राइट। हम ईडीओ वाला भी करना है वहाँ पर, फीचर इंजीनियरिंग, बहुत कुछ करेंगे हम लोग वहाँ पर। सो उसके लिए स्टार्ट। सो टाटा बाय बाय।